Hi, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Today is Monday, April 17th. Calling the representative town meeting to order. We have a quorum with 66 of 100 members present. I'd like to just a note, thank you all for wearing your name tags. We really appreciate that. Now we can all put names to faces and get to know each other that much better. At the end of the evening, please return your name tag to your district chair, who will put it in the bag and return that to me, so they will be ready for you at our next meeting, which will be the budget meeting on May 7th. Excuse me? Okay. So I will now turn it over to your moderator, Seth Borden.
Bad magnet. Just refusing to cooperate tonight. Hi, everybody. I'm Seth Morton. I'm the moderator. Okay. Tag's not working right tonight. Yes. Well, just a couple of announcements for you before we get rolling here. The Rules Committee met and put some items on the agenda at their meeting that wound up being funded by the Board of Finance, so they didn't have to be on our meeting. $40,000 for the engineering study of the Norotan Heights retaining wall, and a special appropriation for $34,000 for the dynamic speed signs for the police department. Those were voted by the Board of Finance, so we don't have to vote them. So that's why I did not publish these items in the warning for tonight's meeting. Would have been superfluous. Just a couple of other things. One is that there is going to be a public meeting on the drainage study results for Saltbox Lane, May 11th at 7 p.m. here. I think I started working when I was on the Board of Selectmen. I started working on the drainage in town. That's when we started. That was in 2007. It continues, and it's not easy, and it's complicated. But at any rate, I think it would be worth your taking a look at that. There's also another interesting thing which takes place, and that is that the Board of Selectmen hold quarterly department reviews or discussions, and they're on TV, and you can see them in person. And so I wanted to bring to your attention, the next one is April 18th. That would be tomorrow morning at 9:30, más o menos. No, 8:30. At 8:30? 8:30. Thank you, Krista. So that's all I had there. Without objection, I'll accept the agenda. Any objection? Next, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes of March 20. I have a motion. Thank you, Jim. Second, please. Correction, Jan, thank you. Now, corrections from the floor. Yeah, hello. Is there anything perchance that you'd like to add?
The minutes say that I was absent, and the voting record said that I was here. I'm attesting that I was here, so could we correct that, please?
Yes, we will. We'll get that corrected. So, with the Erica, little louder. Procaccini. Yes. There you go. So with that correction, are we ready to approve the minutes? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Don't hear any. Great. Abstentions, you can turn them in to Krista afterwards. Great, so the minutes stand approved. Next, we'll do an election of a representative to the Great Island Advisory Committee. What I'll do is just have the nominees come up and speak on their behalf, and then we'll go ahead and vote. This, just as a point of clarification perhaps for you, this committee is being formed, and the people who go on it initially will probably serve up to the 31st of December. At that time, the composition may be adjusted by the Board of Selectmen to fit a new charge going forward. The initial charge here is going to be mostly for infrastructure items. And so the people who work on that could be a little different than the ones in the second part, which has to do with the vision for the future and how it'll be structured. So that's what it's all about. We have, I have two nominees for the position. I have Mark Adaletta and Amy Zabatakis. Are there any others? I see no other nominations. Okay. I'll start with Mark Adaletta. Mark, you're here? Yeah, I thought I saw you there. Yeah. Could I have a second, please, for Mark Adaletta? Thank you. So many I can't count. Go ahead, Mark. Come on up. Use the mic. Yeah, sure. Well, no, come on. You can use this one, and then you can face everybody. It's always nice than having your back to everybody.
Good evening. My name is Mark Adaletta. For those, well, a lot of familiar faces, but for those of you that are not familiar with me, I've been on the RTM since 2005, serving in District 5. I'm a District 5 chair, chair of Public Works, and I sit on the Rules Committee. Over the years, I've served on F&B with Mr. Davis, I've served on Parks and Rec with Ms. Conniff, and I've served in TGS&A. I've also been involved with previous advisory committees, including Public Works Garage Building Committee and the Recycling Center Advisory Committee, which was what it was known back when I was involved with it. Both of those roles through my role with Public Works. Please know that if elected, I would be happy to serve on this Great Island Advisory Committee. I believe the decisions regarding this special property need to be made with great care and collaboration and with input from many of the town's constituents, including this body. Having toured this site and followed the evolution of this purchase, I believe there's work that needs to be done to secure the property, make it safe to access by residents, and not interfere with the parties that have leases. I expect many of these initial activities to be infrastructure in nature. These likely include adjusting access roads, signage, remediation, securing unused buildings, set up sanitary facilities, management of this effort, along with identifying, interviewing, and recommending to the Board of Selectmen various consultants that will have to be retained to execute on some of these basic needs. I believe my past RTM experience is directly applicable here. I also understand clearly the charge includes other activities related to preparation of various budgeting and regulatory information for consideration by the Board of Selectmen in their decisioning. I also understand the short-term nature of this term, as Seth just said, the end of this year. I believe it is important that whoever you elect to this committee be willing to collaborate transparently with the other town officials, representatives from the public, and the diverse committees of this RTM. As always, if elected, I'd be happy to serve for the good of all the residents of Darien to the best of my ability. Thank you for your attention. Mark Adaletta, District 5.
Okay, can I have a second for Amy Zabatakis? Yes, many. Thank you. Please, Amy.
Hi, good evening. I'm Amy Zabatakis. I'm in District 5, and I'm chair of the Planning, Zoning, and Housing Committee. I have not served on the RTM as long as Mr. Adaletta. This is just my second year, but I did come in during the time when Great Island was the focus of our attention, and I have paid extreme attention to the project from when it first came onto our radar through my work on the Planning, Zoning, and Housing Committee last year, and then continuing on as we've continued to see the project unfold. By day, I am a zoning and real estate attorney with an office in downtown Darien. I think it's probably worth noting, since I am a local attorney, I do not represent any clients who have property adjacent to the Great Island property, nor would I take on any clients in that area during the time that if I was elected to serve on this committee. Planning, Zoning, and Housing devoted a lot of committee meetings to discussing this purchase and whether it was in the town's best interest. Those of you that were on the RTM last year will recall that I spoke before this body voted, both to express my reservations, but ultimately to support the purchase as being in the best interest of the town. I think that I have the skill set to work on this Phase 1 committee. Namely, we're talking about cleanup and issues relating to town resident access to Great Island. I have the experience as a zoning attorney, and frankly, this is the part of the project that I'm uniquely interested in. I know when the Board of Selectmen was talking about it, they described this as the boring part. I'm a little boring. This is what I get excited about. So, what is the real question for me is how can we safely open this property to access so as many town residents as possible can enjoy the space as soon as possible? We need to be able to access the property as soon as people start paying for it, or as soon as practically thereafter. My promise to this group, if I were elected to serve as the RTM representative, would be, firstly, to make sure that there's clear transparency and that this body is informed to the decisions and proposed expenditures. I think it is very important that we understand what the money that we approved is being used for. Second, I'd like to focus on the governance structure for the development of Great Island and long-term oversight. As was stated, this is not the committee that's going to decide on governance and oversight on a going forward basis. And I think it is essential that we immediately focus on what that governance structure is going to look like and advise the Board of Selectmen as to what this committee sees as the best way forward. I think that we want to make sure that this town asset is available, as I said, to be accessed and seen. And I want to make sure that we understand what we're doing and that we're able to make a great vision for this spectacular property on a going forward basis. I appreciate your consideration.
Okay, just a couple of further notes. Membership on the committee is subject to minority representation, but adjustments to that can be made through the number of at-large members and who from different parts of the town could, what party they are affiliated with. We can pretty much, since we're one of 9, we can nominate anybody we want. It is a nomination. Ultimately, the Board of Selectmen makes a choice. So that's it. What we'll do now is the district chairs will hand out the ballots to everybody, vote for one, and the one with the most votes becomes our nominee. Kristen McNamara has graciously agreed to be the counter.
I guess you have room for this.
While we're counting and doing this, Rolf Oben has been working on the drainage study. He's been looking at it, and his committee's been looking at it. And he's got some more background for us. He said he'd be willing to speak briefly to us tonight. Just let us know a little bit more about what's going on with it. Rolf, thank you.
Good evening, beautiful evening. I'm Rolf Oben. Okay. District 4, Public Works Committee. I'd like to thank moderator Seth Morton and the Rules Committee and Public Works Committee Chair Mark Adaletta for allowing time to present this report on the status of town storm drainage studies. I may repeat some of what Seth has already said, so please bear with me. I will try to be brief. Thursday, May 11th, 7 p.m. in Town Hall, Town of Darien Public Works Supervisor Ed Gentile will conduct a presentation and hearing regarding the tie and bond drainage study, which describes the area as being centered on Saltbox Lane and Saltbox Lane East, but extends onto neighboring streets. The contributing watershed area extends north nearly to Relihan Road, west to Gardner Street, and the eastern leg of Stanton Road, east to Norotan Avenue, and south to Holly Pond at Seagate Road. So it's a pretty big area of property. The results of the study will be explained in detail. All members of the public are invited to attend and will be given an opportunity to be heard. A portion of the meeting will be devoted to questions and answers. Notice of the meeting has been posted on the town website and social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram. The second study for the area west of Bailey Avenue and south of West Avenue is completed, but is not part of the presentation scheduled for May 11th. A third study addressing the Tilly Pond watershed is near completion and should be available soon. Maybe it'll be ready in time for May 11th? I don't know. I would hope to think so. The areas of study were significantly impacted in 2021 by two severe storms, one in July, Elsa, and the other in September, Ida. The Coach Lamp, Saltbox, and Tilly Pond watershed studies are of particular interest because the town's American Rescue Plan Act Committee, also known as the ARPA Committee, placed these drainage initiatives on the town's ARPA funding list for a combined $2.5 million. A quick read of just the Coach Lamp Saltbox study indicates a recommended cost estimate 4 times the $1.55 million reserved by the ARPA Committee for that drainage project. So numbers are coming in much larger than what's reserved in the ARPA fund. So please keep in mind that funds for ARPA projects must be obligated by December 31st, 2024, and the project must be completed by December 31st, 2026. So now there's also a time factor that's ticking away. The Board of Selectmen's agenda for tomorrow morning's meeting includes a discussion for the possible reconvening of the ARPA committee. Coach Lamp, Saltbox, and Bailey Avenue reports are available on the town website. And a research for the documents directory, select department documents, public works documents, and stormwater information. I love the town website. I have no professional credentials in hydraulics, hydrology, or storm drainage, so I will not comment on the findings of the drainage reports. Explaining the reports is best left to the expertise of Ed Gentile and his staff. I encourage all RTM members to seek feedback from your neighbors. If you know someone who lives in the Coach Lamp Saltbox Lane area, please reach out to them so they are aware of Ed Gentile's presentation, which is the first formal town drainage presentation to be delivered to the townspeople of Darien since the storms of 2021. This is our first real information from the town about these areas and what happened during those storms. I ask that you and your neighbors please consider attending the May 11th presentation. Short of reading the reports, I will try to answer any questions you may have. Thank you. Any questions? Okay.
We're counting. Given that we are still counting, I see no reason not to keep moving. So the next item on the agenda is 2311, donation of $15,000 for the Darien Little League. Speaking on behalf of the Park and Recreation Committee, Adele Coniff.
Hi. Adele Coniff, District 3, Parks and Recreation Committee Chair. 2311, resolution of the representative town meeting of the town of Darien authorizing the acceptance of a gift from the Darien Little League to the town of Darien for a professional evaluation of the 3 athletic fields located at McGuan Park. Do I have a second? Diane. With no objection, I'd like to waive the reading of the resolution. Yikes, it's falling apart. One of the fiscal year 24 Parks and Recreation capital improvement requests for McGuan Park was $15,000 for the professional evaluation of the 3 athletic fields at McGuan Park, and field renovations were requested in the 6-year capital improvements plan for fiscal year 25. There are 2 baseball fields and 1 softball field at McGuan Park. The Parks and Recreation Commission felt the fields have been maintained, but not rescanned or fundamentally improved since they were installed 20 years ago. The grades have shifted and there are drainage concerns resulting in erosion. The evaluation would identify where the grading issues are and the scope of the work required to fix them. The process would include infiltration rate tests, laboratory testing and analysis, and irrigation evaluation, and provide solutions that help improve the quality of the Little League fields. During the down budget review process, the evaluation of the athletic fields was deferred to fiscal year 25. Subsequently, the Darien Little League has offered $15,000 as a gift to the town to complete the professional evaluation and will consider donating additional funds based on the results of the evaluation. The town is lucky to have such dedicated volunteer support for our children. The Darien Little League is extremely successful with over 1,000 participants registered this spring in their baseball and softball leagues. Thank you, Darien Little League. The Parks and Recreation Commission, Board of Selectmen, and Board of Finance have voted to accept this generous gift of $15,000. At their meeting on April 6th, the RTM Parks and Recreation Committee, with 14 of 15 members present, voted unanimously to accept a gift of $50,000 for the professional evaluation of 3 athletic fields at McGuan Park. We encourage the RTM to do the same. Adele Coniff. Thanks.
Thank you, Adele. Speaking on behalf of the Finance and Budget Committee, Jack Davis, Chair.
Before I get started, Seth mentioned the quarterly meeting. If you do not have time to watch it, I would advise that the packet for that meeting for tomorrow is online, and one should read it because there's a lot more details in the packet itself than what the department heads are going to speak on, because they've asked to just cover main points. But it's a great report to keep abreast of what's going on. I'm still Jack Davis, apparently. District 3, RTM Finance and Budget Chair. Thank you, Adele, for the excellent report. The RTM Finance and Budget Committee met in March and discussed this gift and appropriation for $15,000. Thank you to the Darien Little League. Just for some information and a little bit of clarification. If the town is accepting a gift and making the payments, the Board of Finance does not approve, but what they do is create an appropriation so that the money can be spent. Board of Finance doesn't approve gifts. They make appropriations under those times. If the donor is making direct payment for a gift, as we're going to see coming down the road on the Darien boat, but from the Darien Foundation, the Board of Finance is not involved, and such gift only requires the Board of Selectmen and RTM approvals, providing such gift is under the threshold that's established. The committee voted unanimously in favor of this gift and the appropriation and recommends the same to the full RTM. Thank you.
I found the magic magnet. Thank you, Jack. Are there any other committees that wish to report? Any remarks from town officials? See none. Anything from the RTM body? No. Electors of the town? No. Looks like we're ready to vote. All in favor, please rise. No votes and abstentions. See the counters are moving right along tonight.
I will remember.
Stand guard.
I'm waiting for my first nosedive right over that chair. First of all, the results on our election of a representative to the Great Island Advisory Committee, Mark Adaletta. Thank you, Mark. Item 2311 passes 66 in favor, 1 abstention, no noes. The motion passes, and I'll accept a motion to adjourn. Oh, I have one there for Ann, and turn in your badges, please. All in favor, please rise.